Hello, my name's Hamish Morgan, and I'm here to talk to you about stuff. Now, obviously, it's a very broad topic, so I'm going to try and narrow it down a bit. But first of all, what is stuff? Stuff is partly things. Things are objects like my jumper, the TV camera, general objects that you see around the place. It's also thingamajigs. That usually implies that you don't actually know what it's called, and even more so, what do you call it. It's all stuff. Just because you don't know what it's called doesn't mean it's not stuff. Jabberwockies are stuff, even though it's not real. It's still an example of stuff, as are badgers. Now, where does stuff come from? A large proportion of stuff actually comes from now, but a much smaller proportion comes from before. As you can see, even less than that comes from after, as in the future, and a minority of stuff comes from elsewhere. So, as I said, I'm going to narrow this down a bit. Stuff you can't put in your pockets. Raw eggs. You can't put raw eggs in your pockets. Even if they're still in the shell, you might slap your thigh and break them, and then you'd have yolk in your pocket. That wouldn't be good. Live animals. You shouldn't put live animals in your pockets. Even very small chihuahuas can be a problem if you try and put them in your pocket. Pocket calculators. You can't put them in your pocket because they are just too big. Maybe one day someone will invent a pocket calculator that does fit in your pocket, but that hasn't happened yet. Philosophical concepts. Concepts are things that are or might be. Philosophical concepts are usually things that aren't. So you can't really put something that isn't in your pocket. It's still stuff. It's just not real. Even if you write it on a piece of paper, then you've just got a piece of paper in your pocket. And loose jam. Loose jam you can't put in your pocket because it's very sticky. And if you put your hands in your pocket to take something out, you will look like an idiot. So, stuff you shouldn't eat. Now, this might seem quite obvious to some of you, but I'll go through some of the basics. People often say, I'll eat my hat if I get a good mark for this assignment. But even if I do get a good mark, I really shouldn't eat my hat because I'll get indigestion. Food for thought. It's just a metaphor. You can't eat it. Your own medicine. People often say you should take a taste of your own medicine, but you shouldn't eat all of it or you'll just end up in A&E. People often also say that you can't have your cake and eat it. This is true, so please do not attempt to have a cake. Vegetarians should not be confused with herbivores. Vegetarians are humans. You should not eat humans. Small children, about the size of chickens, can often be confused with food, but society frowns upon this, so I advise you not to eat small children. So, here's a graph I made that shows the rise of digitally enhanced stuff. As you can see, we have less at the bottom and more at the top, and along the bottom is things per time. That's a technical term I won't go into. As you can see, old people's stuff is on the decline. It's my prediction that by the year 2012-teen, there won't be any old people's stuff, and we will entirely use digitally enhanced stuff. Stuff that's hard to say. A number of things are very hard to say. Unfortunately, I practiced this presentation, so I can actually say most of the things here. Phthisis, it's very hard to say. Try it now. Epiphenomenalism, very hard to say. Interdisciplinarity, I couldn't say that without practicing for a long time. Lisp is quite hard to say if you've got a lisp, which is quite ironic, really. Sphyganomen, that one, is extremely hard to say, and despite many hours of practice, I still can't say it. And this one, Ifikiaki, Hadikimaki, Ganakiaki, Wudiki, Shudiki, Tatiki, Madiki, Oniki, Tatiki, Hilt, is extremely hard to say. Obviously, I practiced for years. Stuff to say at the end of presentations. There are many options. I prefer, thank you for listening.